Hi, I've clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Monday. Over here, still lots going on in the Atlantic. We've got Invest 92L still moving across the Caribbean over here, and this is pretty much opened up into an open wave over here, but it's really not that open. We've got north-northeast winds coming in from the backside, south-southeast winds coming in to the east, and it would not take much at all for this to regain circulation. And we can see the convection still going off along the axis. Really not in too bad of a situation. The big high over here is still creating some subsidence in this area of the world, and this is the main reason why this has had trouble getting going. The water in here, though, is very warm, and I expect that as this comes across and the Yucatan, it will find some way to develop eventually. It's just going to be gradual and slow, as was expected, and I think eventually this will find a way to get going, and this will be coming across the Yucatan and probably threatening northern Mexico over here. South Texas, still watch this. The models are starting to become in much clustered agreement that it's going to be Mexico as threatened over here, but it will be interesting to see, because if Igor takes a farther south and west track, that would mean the ridge is more over here, and you might see it try to fade northwest more towards Texas at the end. We'll have to see how that goes, but both the tracks of each of these storms over here are providing hints to what the other's track is going to be, so kind of interesting stuff going on there. And speaking of Igor, here he is out here, and this is just awesome from a meteorological perspective. Look at this hurricane over here. This is just about as prettiest as you can ever ask an eye to be. Look at that visible imagery, and this is amazing looking storm. This is very close to a Category 5. The only reason the Hurricane Center has decided not to call it a 5 is because the IRD Vorak estimates are still keeping it at a 4. If it gains some colder cloud tops around the core ring, this will be a Cat 5. The eye cannot get better than what it is right now. Perfectly vertically stacked and clear at the bottom. And you see it's still moving west-southwest. The 11 a.m. next forecast point, I don't think it's going to make this forecast point over here. It's probably going to come a little south of that based on its current movement, and I think this track is still a little too far north. You can see that the models think that this is going to cross 20 north before or at 55 west, and I think that's far too fast for the recurve over here, and I think that at the very least the UK Met and Canadian ideas over here at days 4 and 5 are far more valid, and I think this is coming more through the uprights over here. I think this is more likely to come right between Hatteras and Bermuda over here than anything else, and this has a chance to get a lot farther west. The models, this is going to be a good example of the consensus being very tight. This has been consistent on this solution at a recurvature east of 65 for days, and this is going to be a perfect example, I think, of why the model consensus can and does bust all the time. The Canadian ensembles I like a lot better over here. You can see by day 7 they had the storm clustered near 70 west over here. Some of these ensemble members are a little too far southwest for comfort over here near the Bahamas, and that wouldn't be a good situation. But the mean is over here south of 20 north near 70, south of 30 north, excuse me, and 70, and probably going to recurve out like this right between Hatteras and Bermuda. I like this track a whole lot better. And should the Eastern Seaboard be watching this, I think that they should not keep their eye off of it. I still feel that recurvature east of the United States is the most likely scenario. However, as I have been showing the last couple of days, there are reasons to be worried if this continues to stay south. Remember, the models didn't see all this west-southwest motion that we're seeing of the hurricane right now, and it's consistently south of the models, all of them. So there are some things to watch over here, and you see hints on the models. I'm not going to show the Japanese today. The Japanese has not changed, by the way. It has remained the same with its solution of hitting the southeast U.S., but this is a different model. This is the MRF ensemble mean forecast 500 millibar from NOAA's Physical Science Division, and this is day 5 over here, and you can see the 500 millibar negative anomalies over here showing you where the hurricane is, probably in here in 5 days. And if we go out to day 10 over here, you got two things going on. One, the storm could have recurved, in which case it would be up here right now, or it's down here. See the big negatives over here? There's a split in the model. You can see what it's trying to do. You can see the pattern saying, well, there should be something here, but there could also be something that recurved out. So there's a split in here because there are ensemble members in most of the major model runs except the GFS that show the storm getting in here and getting stuck instead of recurving out. So there is the danger for this. You can see the model showing this. I mean, when you see this in 10 days off of Florida and the Bahamas, you got to be worried a little bit. But you can see over here on the water vapor, trough number 1 did absolutely nothing to the hurricane. It's still coming west-southwest over here. This is trough number 2. Trough number 2 is broader and a little deeper, so as this comes across, this has a chance to start this on its west-northwest track by tonight or tomorrow. But you know, it could be stubborn. This is nearly a Cat 5 hurricane, and these things can be rather uncanny and unpredictable in how they manipulate the environment around them because of the massive amounts of heat that they are producing. They have the capability to defy a lot of computer model forecasts based on the sheer amount of heat that it releases, so it can manipulate the strength of the ridge and all sorts of stuff. But this trough is not that deep. It's going to be lifting out as it comes north of the hurricane, so it wouldn't take too much to get it in here as opposed to here. So it's something we're going to have to watch for. Bermuda has to watch this the closest. This could be a very bad storm for Bermuda. The European has it going just west of Bermuda, and that would be a bad storm for them. The main model consensus has it going east of Bermuda. I think it's going west, farther in here. And even if it's 100 miles away, that's going to be a bad storm for Bermuda. So these folks need to watch it the closest of all people, and the eastern seaboard should not let up on this either. They should keep an eye out on this just in case it pulls off something. And what I'm going to show you now is the GFS ensembles, day 15, 500 millibar anomalies, and check out this big fat negative over here, Cuba, Gulf of Mexico, Southwest Atlantic, Western Caribbean. This is echoing the thoughts that I have been sharing about the Southwest Atlantic basin heating up by the time we get towards the end of the month, and how activity will be starting to shift west as the Cape Verde season starts to wind down. The season will not shut down when the Cape Verde train leaves. All it will do is shift west. This is the GFS saying that there should be a big hurricane right in this area in 2 weeks, and this has been a consistent solution now. The models are starting to echo these ideas, and I think this is something we should be concerned about down the road. Is the final week of September we could be seeing some trouble, perhaps threatening Caribbean islands and perhaps the United States over here, Southwest Atlantic Basin, getting ready to heat up. You can see the ridge over the top, trough in the Gulf of Alaska, prime pattern, and with the MJO coming back across, you'll focus the upward motion more in here, and this will be something I think we should keep an eye out for as September draws to a close in a couple weeks here. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.